Approximately 17 people will die today. These individuals will not die because of a natural cause, a car crash, or even a shooting. 17 people will die today because they were waiting for an organ to be transplanted into their body. According to donatelife.gov, organ donation is the process of giving an organ or part of an organ for the purpose of transplantation into another person. Organ donors are extremely important. They help save lives and give hope to people who otherwise would have no way of living. On average, 77 people's lives are saved a day, according to donatelife.org. Organ transplantation is not a new concept. It has been around for quite some time, and it is viewed as a sign of hope for the future. The need for organ transplants is very real and very highly in demand. Today, I would specifically like to tell you what organ donation is, how it affects people around you, the myths of organ donation, and how easy it is to become an organ donor in the hopes that you choose to do so if you have not already. First, we'll start with what is organ donation. As I said before, organ donation is the process of giving an organ or part of an organ for the purpose of transplantation into another person. Organ donation helps save the lives of people whose organs are failing or no longer work. According to a 2012 New York Organ Donor Network article, 77 people are helped daily by way of an organ transplant. As a recipient, you can receive 11 organs: the heart, the kidneys, the pancreas, the lungs, the liver, the intestines, the corneas, skin, heart valves, and bone marrow. You do not have to donate all of these organs when you become an organ donor. You can choose not to donate your skin and eyes when you die, or your family can even make that decision for you after you are deceased. Most families choose to do this because they want to have an open casket funeral. You can also choose to designate who receives a specific organ from your body. Usually all forms of treatment are exhausted before a doctor decides to do a transplant. If the patient chooses to receive an organ transplant, the doctor puts the patient's name on a national waiting list that is sponsored by the United Network for Organ Sharing, or otherwise known as UNOS. UNOS has a large database with information on all transplant patients waiting on organs and all transplant centers around the country. They know the details of each donor, recipient, and organ so they can match donors to recipients. A board of directors, which is made up of transplant doctors, determines who gets what organ when and who has priority over other people. Younger people receive priority over older people. It also depends on how many transplants you have previously received and how well those transplants went. When matching donors to recipients, the board of directors takes into consideration many things. The two biggest things are antibody count and blood type. Both of these have to match. Well, the donor and the recipient have to match for the organ to correctly work in the recipient's body. Most people choose to donate their organs after they have already died, which is called a cadaver transplant. You can choose to donate while you are still living. Obviously, you would not donate an organ that you need while you're still living, but you can donate organs that you can live without. By choosing to donate your organs, experts state that you can help save or significantly improve the lives of 50 different people, according to the National Institutes of Health. Organ donation does not just affect the recipient. What you would choose to do with your body can affect the lives of a lot of people. It's a domino effect because it also affects those around the recipient. When people choose not to donate their organs, they are causing those people in need of a transplant to rely on machines to perform the tasks that their bodies are not able to do. According to Mark Siegel from Forbes magazine, there is a great shortage of organ donors in the U.S., especially when it comes to kidneys. Over 110,000 Americans are on the list for organs, and more than 87,000 of these patients need kidneys. Only about 17,000 Americans get kidneys each year, while more than 4,600 people die waiting. Although no one in my family has been through the transplant process, I have a friend whose father went through multiple kidney transplants. Michael Brown was diagnosed with kidney failure in 1987, shortly after his twin brother was diagnosed. He was then placed on dialysis. Dialysis is a process which performs the task of the kidney and is extremely tiresome. All of the blood in the body is filtered through a machine that separates the toxins from the good parts of the blood and is then filtered back into the body. Michael received his first kidney transplant in 1993, which his body almost immediately rejected. After the first failed transplant, Michael was once again placed on dialysis. In 2003, he received another transplant, which only lasted 3 short years before he was placed back on dialysis. This time, Michael was placed on home dialysis instead of doing it at the hospital. The difference between the two obviously being the location, the time it took to do the dialysis. At home, Michael had to do it more often, and the location where the blood was taken out. When he did it in the hospital, it was taken out of his arm, and at home, it was taken out of his abdomen. The years leading up to Michael's next transplant were very trying. His life consisted of multiple trips of going back and forth between the hospital and home due to illness that could have been avoided altogether if he had received another kidney. On February 14, 2012, Mike received his current kidney, which is still working for him today. Without his donor, he would still be living the stressful and tiresome life he was before the transplant. Organ donation comes with a pack of myths. Despite continuing efforts at public education, misconceptions and inaccuracies about donation persist, according to DonateLife.org. Few regulations can actually prevent you from donating your organs. Race, age, or medical history cannot discriminate you from becoming a potential donor, contrary to what most people believe. AIDS, blood diseases, serious health conditions, recent trips to certain countries, and recent contact with needles for any reason can prevent you from donating an organ at a certain time. If you are sick, injured, or in the hospital for any reason, the number one priority is to save your life, contrary to what many people believe. A doctor won't just let you die because you're an organ donor so they can save another patient that they have. Now you may be wondering, how do I become an organ donor? All a person has to do is sign up. They ask you when you receive your driver's license if you would like to become an organ donor. You just say yes, and then they put it on your driver's license, so when you die, they know. You can also sign up at organdonor.gov. While all of these statistics can seem overwhelming, every single number that is released to the public represents a person. A person who either needs help and is waiting for a life-saving transplant, or a person who has left a lasting legacy through a transplant. Either way, each number represents a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister, a grandmother, a grandfather, or a child who is important to someone out there. Today we discussed what organ donation is, how it affects people, some myths of organ donation, and how easy it is to become an organ donor. Organdonor.gov states that over 100 million people have signed up in the United States to be an organ donor. These individuals have chosen to help significantly improve the lives of others. I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to say that I saved a life. And because I'm an organ donor, I can say that I will save a life. Thank you.
My name's Caitlin, and I'm Riley's friend.
My name is Jamie, and I'm Riley's friend.
I'm Lindsay, and I'm Riley's friend.
I'm Megan, and I'm Riley's friend.
I'm Daniel, and I'm Riley's friend.